It's Saturday. You've made it. The work week is over. No more patience. Bonus, today's the big football game. U of M is going to pummel Ohio State, and you are prepped and ready to go. You've got your snacks. You've got your afternoon cleared out. It is going to be a great day. Except then it happens. Hello?
Is this Dr. Smythe?
Yeah, no, it's Dr. Smith.
Smith?
No, Smith.
Smith?
No, it's Never mind. What can I do for you?
Yeah. I was in your office last week and had x-rays taken.
Last week?
And ever since then, my whole mouth hurts.
Uh-huh.
So I need you to write me a prescription for Vicodin. Like, right away.
What did you say your name was?
Oh, my name is John McDoodle. John McDoodle.
So what do? The big game is on. They're probably not a patient of record, but you have to know for sure. You have to check somehow. That is where Logmein comes in. Logmein is the tool that we use to remotely support our offices and also give to our offices to use, whether it's doctor or staff of their choosing, to remotely log into their systems as well. Whether you need to just quickly check if somebody is a patient of record, or if you need to check the schedule on a snow day, or if you need to get a little bit of work done from home. So Logmein is a great tool to enable this type of remote access. At first, however, it can be a little bit confusing. So once you log in, you'll be shown basically the list of your computers. You see over here, I've got DDS Integration pulled up, so it shows us all of our computers. So I'm going to log into my desk computer. So all I do is click on it. So this is where confusion often comes in. The username and password here is your Windows username and password. So like if you were to reboot your computer, it would ask you for a username and password. Now often your username is automatically populated when you reboot, so you may have to go and take a look at that before trying Logmein. But once you know that, you put in your username and your password. This screen comes up, and now if we look at the bottom left of our screen, this Logmein client.exe has downloaded. So that's what we need to click on. And that's going to launch a new program or a new window. Now, when you do it for the first time, it may have some additional like security prompts. Do you trust this source? That kind of thing. Yes, you do. Okay, so here's one. Windows Firewall has blocked some of these features. I'm going to allow access. This screen may or may not come up. This Logmein connection alert. It says Logmein can initiate a login to account DDS/Greg. That's my user account, without you having to type in a password. I'm going to dismiss that, but it's a nice quick shortcut that normally you could use, but I want to show you this next screen too. So a lot of times you're going to just be greeted with this kind of screen, or maybe it'll say push Control Alt Delete or something along those lines. Control Alt Delete, I've just made this full screen. In Logmein is these three little blocks, and if I hover over it, you see that pops up and says Control Alt Delete. So I'm going to push that, and then it is going to bring up my login screen, which you should be used to seeing. So now I'm going to put my password in, and this unlocks my computer. So now I see my computer as though I were sitting at it. And now I can do just about anything that I would normally do, except that I'm remote, which is great. I can get into Patterson Eaglesoft, I can get into Dentrix. I am actually going to show you what Eaglesoft would look like. So I've got my Eaglesoft server running, that's good. Now I can get into EagleSoft. And this is where some of the tweaks are going to come in that I want to show you, kind of depending on what you're doing with it at the time. So here I am at the main screen of EagleSoft. I just have a dummy version, so I don't actually have a password, but I'm going to log in. Now, something to notice here, everything looks the way you normally expect it. Colors are the same, it looks good, but here's where the choice comes in. Looks good when it comes to computers on remote connections usually also equates to is slow. So if you're using x-rays, if you're trying to look at x-rays, you probably need it to be on a high quality setting, but it's going to be slow. If you're just putting in chart notes or something, you can change it to black and white, low graphics, and it will go much faster. So it depends on what you're trying to do. So let's first just look at x-rays, and you can see what that will look like. We should expect the quality of the x-ray to be pretty normal to what you see when you're sitting right at the computer. It looks pretty good. Now to make the change to black and white, this toolbar up at the top right here, this is where we go for these types of settings. Under options, we have color quality. By default, it's going to be on automatically adjust, and this is going to be based on your internet connection speed. So it's going to kind of find a happy medium between looking really good but not being too slow. But if I go over to fastest speed here, it turns it totally black and white. So now that it's in black and white, things are going to be much faster, but you can see it looks pretty terrible. For entering chart notes or something like that, or just looking up to see if somebody's a patient of record, looking at the appointment book, that's probably fine. But again, if you want to look at x-rays or intraoral images or something, back up to options, back to color quality, and you can go all the way on this scale all the way to the top. And this is going to be your best setting, but you can see how it's drawing the screen because it's going slow. Most of the time automatic is probably fine, but again, those are the kind of differentiators that you can decide on depending on what you're trying to do. Now the rest of the settings in here I don't really use for the most part. I guess one that sometimes you might want to use, if you're doing this during the day and you don't want people seeing what you're doing because they can see on the screen what you're doing, you can click on this blank screen, and what it will do is it'll turn the monitor to like it looks like it's a black screensaver. So that gives you some kind of privacy for what it is that you're working on. There's a magnifier in here. If something's small, you just drag it, to where you need to see something bigger. But this toolbar is where you go for that kind of stuff, and sometimes it auto hides itself just like the Windows toolbar would. So if it does disappear, you just go back up and it'll reappear for you. Something important to note, whether it's Dentrix, EagleSoft, anything you're doing, for security purposes, here's how you should exit Logmein or any remote access software that you might use. Definitely close out of your practice management software. Yes, we want to exit. Make sure it's to the desktop. Now, if you're on EagleSoft and you're the last one to use it, just like your last one if you're in the office, you need to stop the EagleSoft server so that the backup can run. But then to finish your Logmein connection, you should go back up to this Control-Alt-Delete, push the button, and it's going to look, this is Windows 8, so it'll look a little different with Windows 7, but you want to lock your computer. So now if somebody were to walk up to it, they'd have to know the password to get into it. Then once you've done that, you can click on the X, you're out of that computer, and then the last thing, you should disconnect and log out of Logmein. I'm still logged in. I need to log out. Because again, you've just logged into your browser. If it remembers the password, the next person coming up can potentially get to your computer. They would have to know another password to actually get into it. But we like to be safe, especially when it comes to remote access type of things. So that's Logmein. There are other products out there as well, but that is the one we use. and we can send you invites once you're kind of a customer and we've got it set up so that we can remote in. It just works really well. We can add users, delete users as you need them. If somebody goes on like maternity leave and they need to work from home temporarily, that kind of thing. So again, it's an awesome tool to use. It's a blessing and a curse to be able to work from home. But man, if the big game is on and you're just not sure about that patient calling for a prescription, it's really easy to pop on really quick, verify or not, and move on with your day. There's also apps for the phone, so if you're not near a computer, you can do it on the phone. So it's a great tool. It's called Logmein. I hope that helps. Please leave comments below if you have any additional questions, but I think that should cover most of the basics for using Logmein.